What's up guys, welcome to Wasted Space and we're back in Space Engineers, and I've got a relatively short video today because my plan for this week is to try and do a video a day on the remaining spotlights for the competition so we can get things wrapped up, get some prizes out to you guys and look at the voting this coming weekend. So for today I've got a couple of relatively simple designs that I wanted to spotlight, not because of the design itself, but because of some of the thinking behind how the design works. Some of these are very clever regarding what would be practical when you get on a planet's surface, rather than necessarily what would be cool to have. So what we have in front of me here is the Rock Crawler by Bacon Terminator, and on the right hand side there, the Trailblazer by Bitmaster. And we're going to kick off with the Rock Crawler first, and we'll move on to what the Trailmaster does a bit later. So on the left here we have the Rock Crawler, and as you probably guessed from the name, what it does is relatively straightforward, but how it does it is quite clever. So you can see from these wheel layouts that this is not going to be a standard layout at all. In fact, it's a layout using rotors. And this has been done to give it, well, enough ground clearance that I can run around underneath it, which cannot be said for most other vehicles. Just to use the Trailblazer as an example, here's the biggest suspension, and yes, no way I'm getting underneath there. But it has a couple of other cool features that we'll demonstrate from inside, give you a quick working demonstration of how this thing works. Although, unfortunately, this is another one of those ones that's slightly guilty of there's no way to get inside without a jetpack. Or, I suppose, you could have, quite easily, you could have a little ramp down here on the ground, couldn't you? Just help you get up. So what we'll do is we'll jump up into the back here, and it's relatively simple on the inside because, of course, it's been designed for one thing and one thing only. There's a few mods in use, but that's just to get the glass and some of the smaller components. We'll note these gravity generators up here, while they're there, they're not on. They're not contributing to how the ship performs. We'll just come through. There's not a huge amount to see in here. Maybe I'll shut the back section for good measure. And then in here we have the controls. So we have gravity, we have mass, and we have gyro there. They're all currently on. But the interesting ones are these two down here. So we have wheel mass and race. And race mode I'm going to turn on because what that does, you'll see the ship shift slightly when we did that. What that's done is if I spin the camera around down underneath, we've now got a whole bunch of mass blocks on the bottom turned on. That's designed to give the ship more stability and more speed when needed. Or you can go and turn those off to give it a little bit better climbing potential. But what we're going to do, given we're lined up nicely with this hill here, well, not that nicely, is we're going to start using these rotors to get us moving. So this could be laid out a little bit better in a timer block, I will say, or even using that move it script that I mentioned last week. But now we've turned ourselves a little bit, let's get all the wheels moving. We just press all those buttons at once and you can see it's activating all these rotors and getting us moving towards this hill. What's really cool about this vehicle is not the rotors themselves, but how it goes about handling a hill climb, or also handling a hill descent. So turn my UI off for a second, give you guys a proper look. And as you can see, the wheels articulate to pull the thing around in such a way that it's pretty much always got at least 4 wheels on the ground. But not only that, it's also not giving any problems by having terrain underneath it that's uneven. So you can see with this, it is literally just going straight up the hill, as if it's not really there. And it's not like it's doing it by going very fast or by tricking with gravity or with mass. It's just climbing straight up there, and it will take quite a lot of punishment as far as the actual terrain it goes over. So, slipping a bit here, but it'll catch and bring back, I'm sure of that. I've played with this thing plenty, it's been very fun. Unfortunately, it will not quite make it up the glacier. It seems like that is a task no wheel-driven ship is about to manage. Perhaps with the aid of thrusters on the back you could do it. You get up enough speed, kind of push yourself up that way. But otherwise, let's stop this before I run into this tree. And turning in this is a little bit difficult, but basically, like a tank, you would activate just one side wheel. So you can see I've just put this side on, the other side are not spinning, and that's going to shift us around slightly. And then I can speed up that side wheels as well to continue moving where we're going. And what I'm going to do, in fact, I think is just drive off the far side. That looks sufficiently craggy, and how steep is it on the far edge? Yeah, that looks nice and craggy and steep. A good demonstration of what this is capable of. And of course, one thing you can do with this, which you can't do with your average vehicle, is just get out and wander around while it's driving. It's not like it's moving quickly, so there's no problems there, but let's jump back into the cockpit if I can, just to watch us go over this little ridge. And again, no issues with ground clearance, no issues with grip. It's just going to go straight down this hill, no problems whatsoever. So that's the gist of things, just some very clever use of rotors to enable these wheels to move like you want. And the fact that they've got mass in the wheels keeps them nice and level to the ground as well. So it's always in a position where those wheels are going to help out. They never sort of fling around and do anything weird. So you can see straight down there, no issues whatsoever. And we could, if we wished, turn around and go straight back up it as well. It does have limitations, that little bit of rock just there that's almost vertical. Probably not going up there. But otherwise, a fun little vehicle, and if you ramp the rotors all the way up, not that slow either. Makes decent progress, I would say. So that is the Rock Crawler by Bacon Terminator, a very cool little vehicle, and one that I thought just demonstrates some really good thinking. I mean, terrain isn't flat. When you come down to a planet, I know this is all flat, but that's because of the limitations with Space Engineers. In reality, the terrain is going to be like this. Real terrain would be like this, much more rugged, and you'd need a vehicle that was capable of going over it. Or, and we now move on to the Trailblazer, quite pleased with that segue there, you find something to deal with the fact that the terrain is rugged, and that's what the Trailblazer here is designed for. So you'll notice that at the front we have a set of drills that is on an arm, and the arm is rotor mounted on both sides. Nice use of a double rotor mounting setup there, and basically, in fact, a very good one, because he's managed to use advanced rotors on both sides, which is a tricky thing to do. But the main point of this, aside from the fact that you've got a bit of passenger carry on the back and the ability to hook it up to a trailer perhaps, is what it's been designed to do. And I thought the idea and the thinking behind this was very, very clever. So we've got very simple controls there. Basically, they're going to change the angle of the arm in front of us. And that's it. That's all we've got available. We could turn on these thrusters on the back that I think he put there just in case it gets stuck, for example. But we're not going to use those. All we're going to do is jump in and we're going to go to the cockpit. Oh, the handbrake's already off. Even easier. So we can turn and make our way. Go on. You can do it. One thing a lot of people have been making a mistake with their creations actually is not putting enough mass on them. You'll be surprised with the gravity that exists in this game. You'll notice where it says gravity 1 and it's got a small g. That's not the same as the gravity of the Earth, for example. So you need to be careful with how much mass you're putting on objects. So what I've done is just lined us up over here with a piece of terrain that, to be honest, if you were about to build a base here, this area here is going to be annoying. You're not going to be able to put your blocks down properly. It's just generally going to get in the way. So as you guys have probably guessed by this point, what this thing is designed to do is simply level terrain ready for your base. And it's very, very cleverly lined up. You can see we're probably going a little bit fast at the moment. But he's got it all lined up that we can literally just take off a mound like this completely, relatively quickly as well, you'll notice. It's not like we're moving slowly. And when we're done at the other end, that piece will be completely flat. Absolutely flat, ready for building, ready for driving, ready for whatever it is you want. This is just going to trim the surface of the ground down to a level. And we can drive around and do this really quite quickly. And it's a good name. He called it the Trailblazer for a reason. You can see as soon as we got down to the level here, it stopped cutting. And there we go. Nice flat bit of terrain. So we can now swing ourselves around and go for another pass. Flatten out some more of it. You could even make yourself a considerably larger one of these. Now, one thing this does have, and the previous vehicle had, and a lot of the vehicles have been having, is gyroscopes to help their turning. And while you'd think that kind of, it doesn't make much sense, you're dragging the wheels around on the ground, you can see here that I am turning these wheels. There are 4 wheels turning at the moment. It should, if friction was applying like friction should, be turning around now, not drifting sideways. But unfortunately, the wheel mechanics need a little bit of work to be ready for planets, I think. And so I kind of understand the use of gyroscopes. I'm not using it just to demonstrate the point, but I can understand why people would. And again, we're just going to come wandering back in here and slow down, not too fast. Don't want to break it, yeah, didn't really want to do that. And then, yeah, just going to terraform this bit of land here, ready for a bit of base work. Build our base here, no worries at all, because we can just flatten off the land wherever we like. And as I said, with both of these, they're not complex machines. They just show some really good practical thinking about what actually matters when it comes to planets. You know, it is going to matter having a flat piece of terrain to build on. Definitely. You know, it is going to be annoying coming to an area where the terrain isn't flat, and you're going to want a method of flattening it off. And this, to me, especially for a survival scenario, seems like a really good way of doing it. So there you go, guys. Not a long video today, as I said, but what I'm hoping to do is do a spotlight video every day for the rest of the week, so there's plenty of content coming in for that. Hope you like these ideas and kind of understand why I thought they were worth showing off, even if they're not necessarily competition winners. And I can't say that for sure yet, of course. That's not giving anything away. I'm just saying that even if these aren't competition winners, you definitely needed to see some of the clever thinking that people have been coming out and some of the stuff that's been going behind what people have thought. There you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit like, please hit share. As always, it really helps me in the channel out. And otherwise, I will catch you next time.